It's a beautiful day today, my friends, for Cenk Uyger of the Young Turks to come out as a moderate. The shift is happening and the left is now attacking him. They've been attacking him and Anna Kasparian, saying that they're right-wingers. They've always been right-wingers. And Cenk Uyger seems to finally be having enough. This all started when Anna Kasparian said, "Do not call me a woman, a birthing person." Let me rephrase that. Said, "Do not call me, comma, a woman, comma, a birthing person." She says that she's a woman, not a birthing person. Don't say that. Or a uterus haver or otherwise. The left then pounced, attacking the Young Turks, saying you're transphobes and you're TERFs and all of that stuff. But I do want to add real quick, too. I love the word TERF because it basically just means like anti-trans, despite the fact that it actually means trans exclusionary radical feminist. I love it when they call conservatives TERFs. It's like, dude, that conservative woman is not a radical feminist by any stretch of the imagination. But here's what's happening. As the attacks pile on to Cenk Uyger of the Young Turks, he is now starting to issue statements more and more in line with a moderate worldview. Recently, Cenk Uyger of the Young Turks said that he believes in equality of opportunity, not outcome. Why? Because Bernie Sanders said the same thing, pushing back on the left. And now we have this exchange where he basically says the right will accept you if you disagree and the left will banish you. Someone actually said he'd vote for Trump and says, no, I won't. But let's jump into the beginning, the early context. The early context, the first tweet from Cenk Uyger. And I want to make sure I make one thing clear for all of you. If Cenk Uyger comes out, the more he comes out in this way, in a reasonable fashion, the more I am willing to absolutely accept him and forgive him for any past slight. I mean it. Absolutely. When you win, take your win. If Cenk Uyger did bad things and supported bad policies 2 years ago, okay, well, we'll criticize him for it. If he sees the light and he comes around and says, you know what, this is getting crazy, I'm not okay with it, I say, thank you, good sir, welcome to the conversation. I said the same thing for Joey Salads, and I will say it now for Cenk Uyger. Joey Salads, if you're not familiar, had this viral moment where he did something very deplorable. And then at first my reaction was screw you. And then I realized, wait a minute. If a man is facing a fork in the road and the only opportunity is to go down the dark path, of course, that's the only path they'll go down. You must give them the path of righteousness as an option. Otherwise, they won't take it. I want Cenk Uyger to use his platform to keep doing what he's doing, influence his followers to be reasonable and moderate. Here's what Cenk Uyger said, which kicked off, this is from 2 days ago. Kicked off the current statement where he's like, well, I wouldn't vote for Trump, but really. Cenk Uyger tweeted, the problem with American politics is that the extremes are nuts, but the corporate media pretends the middle is pro-corporate, pro-corruption agenda. No, that's the corporate extremists that MSM supports with their ridiculous bias. So real moderates have nowhere to go. Whoa, real moderates. Cenk Uyger, are you implying that you yourself are a moderate? Very interesting. Perhaps because the left has now gone so far left, they've even pushed out the leftist Young Turks from the fray. Realignment politics responds with, Cenk is beginning to see the light. It's a gradual process, but patriots are in control. He's a good man, and I forgive him for his hateful comments about Israel. Cenk will be voting for Donald J. Trump in 2024. Oh, I don't know about that one, but Cenk Uyger responds. He said, there's a 0% chance I would vote Trump. But look at how the right wing accepts people who agree with them 5%, whereas left wing tries to banish anyone who disagrees with them 0.05%. But that's not the real left. It's a bunch of posers pretending to represent the left. Yeah, Cenk Uyger is right. I agree with him. A lot of people say, nope, that is the left. And in response to this, a lot of people are saying outright, no, that actually is the left. Well, yes, it's what the left currently is. But let me explain why I say Cenk Uyger is right. There was a period where I was the left. Everything I believe right now, everything that I've stated over the past several years was the left. I've been pro-choice. I'm in favor of progressive taxes. Oh, heavens. And all my libertarian friends are like, statist. Because we disagree on certain policy issues. Now, don't get me wrong, I think there should be less taxes, but I understand the idea of a progressive tax and structures of power. And I've always been fairly pro-choice. I've always been a traditional liberal in favor of liberal social justice policies, liberal ones, not the modern iteration of the left. And so I paid attention I did not care for the grift, and the left left me. Cenk Uyger, I think, latched on and couldn't let go because the Young Turks was a major liberal brand. And all of a sudden he sees this shift. The cult starts taking over. What's a man to do? If he came out and said, look, y'all are crazy, he'd lose his entire business. Slowly but surely, there was no way out either way. And Cenk Uyger has slowly come around because he has no choice. When Anarchisperian said, do not call me a birthing person, they went for the Young Turks' throats. Good. And Cenk points it out. It's like that meme where there's a guy standing in between the left and the right, and he says, I don't know, both are kind of making good points. So the left shoves him, and the right catches him, and they say, whoa, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, thanks. And then the leftist says, why are you siding with the right? Yo, Cenk Uyger, he's welcome on Timcast IRL anytime. I've wanted to get him on the show over and over again. Maybe now what will happen is one of two things. Let's say Cenk Uyger's a grifter, and I've certainly called him as such. Yeah, it's probably the case. Now he's realizing there's no path forward. The left is a dead end. They are spiraling out of control and eventually will cease to exist. If he wants to move forward with any kind of success, with any kind of business, he needs to go where the people go. Well, I just did a segment about high schoolers protesting drag queen story hours. Uh-oh. Cenk Uyger even previously implied that I was attracted to kids. Yeah, which is defamation. What do they call it? Defamation per se? Is that what it's called? Because it's outright ridiculous. Just because I said that, groomers shouldn't target kids, he went for it. Because he was very much in line with whatever his audience wanted him to say. The only problem is sooner or later, the left will turn on you no matter what. Because there is no morality. There is no ideology there. It is just a moral corruption. Perhaps the issue is Cenk Uyger squeezed as much as he could out of that movement, and now there's nothing left for him. Whatever. At any rate, I'll take a win. If Cenk Uyger wants to come out and say, look what the right does, they support people. Okay. Keep talking like that, Cenk Uyger. I appreciate it. I do. Let me show you what this is. Heterodox Academy says The Great Awakening. Musa al-Gharbi explained for Compact Mag, and the Heterodox Academy blog appears to be a global phenomenon based on a new analysis of 98 million news and opinion articles from 124 media outlets across 36 countries. Take a look at this. This is mentions of racism, homophobia, transphobic, Islamophobic, etc., etc. Every country, almost every single country, sees a major spike in this rhetoric around the exact same time. And you know what happened around that same time? The rise of social media. Human beings latched onto algorithmic manipulation. They were sucked into it, and they just all started regurgitating the same psychotic garbage. But notice something. See the hockey stick in every country? That means if you are on this list, we'll put it this way. Let's say here's the vertical metric, and you are in the middle. And from the bottom is anti-social justice, and the top is social justice. If you're in the middle of this and you see it rising, you're feeling good. You're like, look, people in the conversation is starting to come to where I'm at. But eventually the hockey stick passes you. You being a 5 on the social justice scale, now see the conversation heading to a 10. And you'd say, what are you guys talking about? Y'all are losing your minds. But it goes well beyond 10. It's going up to 100, to 1,000. That's what's happened. For someone like me, I'm sitting here saying like, yeah, social justice is a good thing. And I used to say it all the time. And then the woke train passes me and they're all screaming more and more extreme things. And I'm like, you guys have gone crazy. The same thing now happening to Cenk Uyger of the Young Turks. So you know what? Let the train go. Let them go as far as they can and drop off all the regular people who can return to having normal conversations to reject the lies and manipulations from the corporate press and the woke cult. And you know what that means? I'll put it this way. The chance that Cenk Uyger of the Young Turks votes for Trump is not 0. Cenk is wrong. I'd put it actually around like 7%. Meaning, I'm not very confident he'd ever do it, but I would not be surprised that if in 2024 he announced he was begrudgingly voting for Trump. If he said something like, these people are losing their minds and we need Donald Trump at the very least to get rid of the corruption, I wouldn't be surprised. Now look, any sane, reasonable person understands that Donald Trump is not a psychotic, murderous supervillain. In fact, he represents an opportunity to purge the deep state, the bureaucratic state, whatever you want to call it, Schedule F. I'm willing to vote for that. Whatever else, whatever. Not going to vote for the deep state. So it's funny that Cenk Uyger supported the establishment. Now he claims he's for Bernie, but Bernie supported the establishment too. Perhaps these so-called leftist populists will wake up to the fact that you may not like Donald Trump, but he is the only real opportunity in doing something about the corruption in this country. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around and I'll see you all shortly.